Okay, I just showed you how to bypass the internal relay on a 2003 Lincoln Navigator. Again, I take no responsibility for damage to the vehicle or damage to yourself or anything like that. Make sure you pull your own diagrams. Make sure you hit subscribe, like this, and share it. I appreciate that. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Okay, this is a 2003 Lincoln Navigator. And the problem that this vehicle has, which is kind of common on these, is that the fuse panel assembly goes bad. And it's got internal relays on it, and particularly the one for the fuel pump's the one that tends to fail, and that's what failed on this one. So this is a no start vehicle. And so I'm going to show you a workaround that I did, because you can't even get these fuse panels anymore. They're just too hard to come by these days. And I'm looking for my flashlight. Just had it there. There we are. So this is the fuse panel assembly. If you look in here, those are surface mount relays. These ones down here in the bottom. There's 5 of them. That center one there, that's the one. Let's see if you can see this. This one right here, that's the one that's for the fuel pump. It's connected through a harness up here. Let me see if you can see it up in here. There's not a lot of space. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to pull this back off again. So what I did is I got the pinouts for this thing, and there's a harness in the top, and I put an external relay in place. So everything is still fused exactly the way it's supposed to be towards this box. So the fuel pump fuse is still going to be the fuel pump fuse. I just went around it and found a different trigger wire. I went off of this wire here. This wire I picked because it's only got power in ignition, run, and start, but it doesn't have power during the accessory mode, and that's important. So I could have gone off several different ones, but this is just a trigger wire, so it's only getting a little bit of power enough to run this relay. Very little amperage is going through that. And I'm going to pull this harness off here so you can see. What we tapped into. So this is a standard relay, right? It's a 5-pin relay. There's the diagram on them. This is just a regular harness assembly. You take one side of your magnet and you ground it, right? Your electromagnet switch. And across from that will be your signal wire that powers it, which when this gets power, it's going to take this and it's going to connect the contacts, and then this one and this one will connect the switch. Excuse me, this one and this one will connect the switch. So this harness here, this little 4-pin harness, it has 4 wires in it. This one right here, the red wire that's going into, this is the one that goes to the fuel pump. Okay, so this is power to the fuel pump, and this blue one is power all the time. So power all the time would have gone into this junction box, into this fuse panel. It would have gone through that relay that's in the bottom, that's busted, and it would get a signal internally, and that would connect that switch inside, and it would just basically connect these 2 wires together. If you just put a jumper between these 2 wires, this green and yellow and this blue wire, the fuel pump would engage and you could start the car. Now that's not a safe way to go, and the battery would drain. So this is the workaround, is you just take an external, I didn't look this up anywhere or anything. This is just what I came up with in the hour diagnostic time and repair that I have into doing this. Normally you'd want to use the same gauge, and I might actually go back through. I am going to go back through and swap this out. I just wanted to test it and make sure this was going to work real quick. These are just quick connects. They make this go a lot faster. If you've ever used quick connect before, basically you just take, well, I'll show you an example of that. Quick connects are really handy. It's got a metal piece and a sleeve. You take two wires you want to connect together. Let's say this one and this one. So I want to go right in the middle of this. I need both hands, don't I? Let's see if I can rig up a way to... I don't know if this is going to work for you. Here's the thing. Here's the wire I want to connect to. Stick that in there like this. Here's the wire I want to put in. I don't want it to have any stripping on it, so I cut that out. Right. You put this in so they mate. Like that. And then you just crush it. And that'll cut through the shielding on both wires, and now they'll have continuity. And this is a great, quick way, especially when you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. Okay, so that's that. So I already had this relay pack and this harness just in my kit, because this one actually came out of a heated seat, for putting heated seats aftermarket in cars. I just used one that I had back there. So you have, let's see, you got these two wires that you're going to connect here. Use the quick connects. You go to either side of the relay. You got one that's just grounded right here. I picked this, which is just, it was exposed and it looked like a good ground for me. And then again, I found a signal wire that was only hot when the key was in the run position or crank, not an accessory and not an off, which I could, well, I'm not going to prove it right now, but this is a great tool for that. If you don't have a power probe, I suggest you get one. They tell you whether or not something's positive or negative. It tells you what voltage it's at, and it gives you access to apply power or ground if you need to. If you don't know how to use this, you don't know about electronics, don't use this, because you'll break things, and then you'll end up having to call someone like me. So there you have it. That's how this is done. All right, thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit that like button for me, would you? Share it. I'm trying to get some visibility out there. Bye. It dawned on me that you might actually want to see this thing start. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to reconnect this harness. I'm going to set this down. Okay, that thing's all hooked up. I'm going to find the key. There's the key. There. All right, so now that runs and drives, starts, there's no codes. And we didn't have to find a fuse box that we couldn't find, so that's good. Okay, I just showed you how to bypass the internal relay on a 2003 Lincoln Navigator. Again, I take no responsibility for damage to the vehicle or damage to yourself or anything like that. Make sure you pull your own diagrams. Make sure you hit subscribe, like this, and share it. I appreciate that. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.